All right, so this is example 4 of, and this is going to be our last example where I give you a parent function of the square root, and I tell you what it transforms to without giving instructions. So, but there will be more videos where I do give instructions, and we'll get to that in the upcoming videos. So, in this example, f of x is equals to the square root of x, and I'm transforming it to g of x is equal to negative 2 the square root of 9 minus 3x minus 4. And you know, if you feel confident, if you've done the other 3 videos and you understand this concept, why don't you just pause this video and see if you can do it for yourself. Don't wait for me to do it, and then just scroll to the very end of the video and just confirm if your sketch matches my sketch. All right. So anyways, remember, the first thing that we have to do, since we have the simplest parent function, is always factor the functions. In other words, what's inside the square root. So what we're going to do is negative 2, and what I'm going to do is factor out the negative 3, and this is going to be x minus 3, and I'm going to put a square root around it, and then minus 4. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, and now we're good to go. So the first thing we should do is list the transformations. So since I see a negative on the outside, and I see a negative on the inside, clearly right away, that's a reflection across the x and y axes, right? The second thing is I see a 2 on the outside and a 3 on the inside. So the 2 on the outside tells me there's a stretch in the y direction by a factor of 2. And then I see a stretch in the x direction, and since that's 3, by a factor of 1/3. Remember, we take the reciprocal. Finally, the last thing is we see translate by, and what does that mean? It's 3 to the right and 4 down, because it's minus 3, so it's 3 to the right and 4 down, and now we're good to go. So now let's just sketch our original f of x. Let me just scroll back just a little bit up. There we go. So our original f of x is equal to the square root of x. And what that looks like, as we know, is simple like that. Remember, the only reason we can go pretty much using this is because we have the simplest parent function. When we don't have the simplest parent function, it's a totally different procedure, which we'll get to in a later set of videos. But anyways, here we go. So it's to g of x. And g of x is, we reach g of x through these transformations. So let's achieve them step by step. So here's some axes. All right, and let's go. So first, we just start off with our square root function. So that's the basic one. Now there's a reflection across the x and the y. So let's do it across the x first. So if I reflect it across the x, it's going to look like that. Okay, and then so I'm going to erase the old one. So I'm going to erase the old one. So I've done the first one, so here we go. This is taken care of. And now if I reflect this function across the y, it's going to look, put a different color. Let's put like that. Okay, so I've done that across the y, and now I'm going to erase the old one. Okay, I'm going to erase the old one. There you go. So now stretch in the y direction by 2. So what that means, it sort of stretches this way by 2. And then I'm going to erase the old one. Going to erase the old one, and let's take care of that. And then stretch in the x direction by 1/3. That means everything gets shrunk by 1/3. So let's just do it this way. So all the x values get shrunk by a little bit, and then I'm going to erase the old one. Really, what you should notice is that the stretches don't really affect the direction of the curve. All they do is that they just adjust the sort of the length of it, if you will. It's not really not the length, but it's more that it affects the x and the y's, but it doesn't really affect the direction of the curve itself. So and then so we've taken care of that. And finally, we've got to move it to the right by 3 and up by 4. So I'm just going to do both of them actually in one shot. So it's to the right by 3, and then down by 4. My mistake. So down by 4. So basically, our new function will be, oops, let me just scroll down just a little bit more. Our new function will be like this, right? And then I'm going to erase the old one. I'm going to erase the old one like that. There we go. And basically the coordinates of this point now are 3 and 4, or this is the starting point. And there we go. So then we've basically graphed what g of x looks like. And hopefully, if you've actually done this by yourself and scrolled to the end of the video, this is what you got. And fantastic. All right. So I will see you in the next video.